What's going on, everybody? Austin Ariel here. Welcome back to my channel. I know I have not been that consistent with uploading content lately. There's just been so much going on in life. I just got back in town from LA. I was visiting Rachel's family with her, and before that, some things happened, some things changed. So one of those things was this. This is a 2021 Kia Stinger all-wheel drive GT1 trim. But this is our Stinger GT1. Me and Rachel both had a K5 and a Kia Niro, and we traded them both in on this car because, as you guys know, I have my Lincoln Navigator. So now we have two cars, and a sports car is one of them, and this Kia Stinger is something that I'm very, very happy to share with you guys. This is a 2021. We did not go to the 2022 just because for the features that we wanted and the color combination that we wanted, this one fit the bill. There was only two spec'd out like these on the entire East Coast. I have one of them, and I am super, super excited. So today, let's go through this thing. So really quick, I do want to first apologize because it's actually a surprisingly windy day here. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Georgia, but it's especially windy. So if there's wind noise, I'm gonna try my best to edit it out. So please give me a little bit of grace on that. But secondly, if you guys do like what you're seeing and you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. That way you get notifications every time I release a video. You'll see it come up in your feed, and it shows support for the channel. And definitely hit that bell. I think it's up in the right hand corner now. They might have changed it on the mobile app. I know they've gone through some updates, YouTube has, but that way you get alerts every time I release a video, and it just helps support the channel, like I said. In addition to that, as we're going through this video, comment down below anything that you want to see. If you do want to see updates on the ownership of this Stinger, things that I've done, etc., because I'm gonna talk a little bit about it today. So again, give it a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video. So first, let's talk about the front end on the Stinger. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, the car already has about 800 miles on it, so it's got dirt and everything like that. This car is made to be driven, so I do drive it, and so does Rachel. So up front, you do have this dark amber chrome here that does surround the grille and the bottom air dam here. I think it looks pretty cool. It's very sporty. I like the contrast on the snow white pearl paint. Overall, it's just a really, really clean design. It integrates their tiger nose grille here efficiently, and that same color is on these little bezels that outline the grille itself. You do have functional air dams here on the front area. Again, this car is a performance vehicle, so you do have to get air to this twin turbo V6 that I'll go over in a little bit. The headlight unit here is a full LED headlight. It is LED for your low beams and your high beams. They are not adaptive. That is on the GT2 trim only. But your indicators here are going to be full LED as well, and you will have LED running lights. This vehicle does have front and rear parking sensors, so you'll see these dots on the front, and you do have radar cruise control, which they integrate right here into the front brake in the middle of the tiger nose grille. I actually think this was very well executed because I feel like if they would have put it down here, it might obstruct airflow because yes, this is hollowed out and so is this top grille piece there, but it's integrated well. It doesn't look too tacky. The Kia emblem, this is the old one now because the new 22 Stinger has the new Kia emblem. So this one does have the old Kia emblem on it, which I do like. So overall, I love the front end of this car. But I will say things that people don't end up liking about this car are the vents on the hood that are not real. They are fake. But stylistically, I do think they look really, really handsome. So the wheel set on this Stinger, so these are going to be 19-inch wheels all the way around. However, it is a staggered setup. So the front wheel is a 225 with tire. The rears are going to be a 255. But interestingly enough, it's a 40 series sidewall on the front, but a 35 series sidewall on the rear. It's a really, really interesting dynamic they have going for this car, even though it is all-wheel drive. The overall design of the wheel, I love this design over the 22s, and that was another reason why we went with a 21 versus a 22. The wheel design here, I just like that it's not overstyled. The new ones look like they're trying to be some anime dagger type blade wheel thing, and it just looks really tacky. So I do like that, and I like the fact that they kind of made it look like it's got a center locking wheel nut, whatever it's called. Can you guys help me out there? My mind's blanking. Center locking wheel. So I do like this design here. And then don't forget, you do have Brembo brakes, because the bigger V6 motor in this car, you got to be able to slow this thing down. So you do have some pretty potent brakes to stop this car. So I do want to point out some things here. So for one, this area here is actually a functional air dam. It actually does allow air to pass through. And then you do have dark chrome on the actual mirror caps itself. And then the whole rest of the body line is really, really pretty there. On the rear of the Stinger here, you're going to notice that the whole rear end looks like it's got one long taillight unit. That is not the case on this model. The 22s actually do make it a full LED light bar, but in this case, you are going to have your LED running lights on the outside, LED brake lights integrated on the inside bezel, and then your indicators that are full LED. But it's really cool because I'm going to show you here, there's actually honeycomb design on the inside of the indicator. Just a really cool attention to detail on this car. You do have a quad tip exhaust, so you have two on each side, and it is a true quad exhaust. These are going to be non-functional tips, so kind of fake, but it still looks really good stylistically. And you have this kind of I don't want to call it a diffuser, but for the sake of things, I'll call it a diffuser. And you do have rear parking sensors back here. This middle area here is just going to be a reflector piece. It's not going to be a full-fledged light bar, and you have a backup camera here. You do have this spoiler that kind of rests on top. It looks really nice. Man, this wind is incredible out here. But yeah, you do have this kind of floating spoiler here. A lot of people that have noticed in the aftermarket put a little bit of a duckbill lip on it. It looks really nice. As far as rear seat space goes in the Stinger, you actually have quite a bit of it. So with the sloped roofline, you do lose a little bit of headroom, but no big deal. This seat is actually where I keep my seat personally, and you can see I've got enough leg room. I am 5'9", so keep that in mind, guys. A 6 foot tall person or taller might be a little bit uncomfortable in the back here, but I am very, very comfortable, and the seats are very comfortable too. Let's see what else is going on back here. I'm gonna be honest, we carry our dog back here, so we do have this little area here that I just pushed to the side, but it is a hammock that goes all the way across. But for the sake of things, mat pockets on the back of both seats. You are gonna have vents for the rear passengers, and yes, they can choose their own temperature. Fast charge USB, 12 volt power outlet. And then you do have a fully adjustable headrest, and you pull this area down, and yes, you do have two cup holders. Also make note, the seats do fold down completely, all of them, so you can get a lot of space back here. In addition to that, on the door card, with the Harman Kardon surround sound system, you do have silver speaker grills, which look amazing. This red leather interior package goes into the door card, and it looks fantastic. You do have a little small slot, maybe for a small soda can or something like that, or storage pocket in the door itself, but overall, a really, really nice place to be. The trunk here, it's actually pretty big. So it's bigger than our K5's trunk by a little bit, not too much. You do have this cargo cover here, and this is a manual tailgate. The GT2 model gets the power tailgate, so just make note of that, but I'm not mad. I'm perfectly happy with the manual. And then underneath all of this, I'm actually gonna pull all this up. You will have a spare tire that you can utilize in this car as well. So overall, a lot of usable trunk space here. So very well done. You got this handle, just pull and bring it down. It's not that heavy. We're in this Stinger, the 2021 model. So it's very similar to the 22s. This one, you have the 8-inch touchscreen, which I'm not even gonna lie, personally, I prefer this over the bigger 10 1/4 inch screen that I had in the K5. I don't know what it is about this. It just makes me feel happier. So I'm happy with this. Some people are going to see it as a downgrade. I enjoy it. But you do have navigation. You're going to have their Sounds of Nature update. And then you are going to have Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Though the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is not wireless. So down here, you've got the 3-vent system here that the Stinger is known for. You're going to have the plastic surrounds on the outboard vents there. And then the door cards are going to be very similar to the rear passenger. So you can see the Harman Kardon surround sound, the red leather going into the door card itself, and the storage pocket down below. You have aluminum, and that is one thing I will say. All of the materials in here are actually real. So you have real metals, even the plastics, which this is actually plastic, but this top part, from what I was told, is actually a very thin leatherette that covers a foam, which is really nice, attention to detail. But it just looks really nice in here. Very, very high quality. You do have plastic switches here, but they do feel nice and they do feel soft. So I'm not going to really complain too much, because at the end of the day, this car is 50 grand versus like 60 or 70 from the Germans. So dual zone climate controls, like I said, you're going to have your Bluetooth, you're going to have navigation, all that. So you will have a wireless phone charger here, auxiliary input, USB, 12-volt power outlet on the side here. So you're going to have a few things there. Cup holders, which I'm not going to lie, these little plastic things that line the cup holder, they get annoying. And then you do have this shifter, which is kind of T-shaped, that the K5 shifter was actually mimicked. You do get the shift-by-wire transmission in the GT2 trim. So for y'all watching, make note of that, though the 8-speed transmission is identical. Down here, electronic parking brake auto hold, so it'll hold the brake while you're in drive. Different drive modes, so you've got Sport, Custom, Comfort, Eco, Smart. In the GT1, the side bolsters on the seats do not tighten when you put it in Sport mode. Your traction control button, which is also useful for launch mode, and then heated cooled seats in the front, which the 22s do not actually go this in depth of features for the GT1 trim. Heated steering wheel, because I do have the all-wheel drive model, parking sensor button, and the idle stop and go switch to turn it off. And then the steering wheel here, leather wrapped. It is hand stitched. You're going to have contrast stitching on the inside, which looks really nice. Gloss black down here, which I'm not totally sold on, but who cares? I feel like this material, this little silver material out here, would look better here. But they do give you that with a GT badge here. Like I said, old emblem for Kia. Soft touch plastic surrounded by metal. Of course, your Bluetooth controls. And then your adaptive cruise control button here. And then, of course, your page settings. So you can go through the pages if you want to here. So really cool. One thing I do want to point out with the gauges, look at that. Oil temp, instant torque, turbo. You scroll down, you got a lap timer in here and a G-force meter, which is really cool. You got your digital speedometer, your drive mode, fuel economy, which you can see. I drive it pretty hard. So it's rated at about 25 highway. I'm averaging 16, so this car's made to be driven. And then accumulated info, blah, 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 all the stuff. So over here, compass or navigation. You'll have your lane safety features here, which this thing's got everything. Lane safety galore. So departure warning, lane keeping assist, lane following assist. It's got all of that. Automatic collision for the front and rear, so you don't have to worry about any crashes at all. Other luxury goodies to make note of, your mirrors are going to be power folding and memory on this model. So I have memory seats, memory mirror, I have a memory steering wheel, because this is a power adjustable steering wheel. So it's a really, really nice thing to have here, especially sharing the car with Rachel. Automatic headlights with auto high beam assist. The GT1 model for 21 does have auto sensing windshield wipers, so this one does have it. And I do have metal paddle shifters here to row through all 8 gears, because again, this is an 8-speed automatic transmission. And then this model also did come with the auto dimming rear view mirror with HomeLink integrated in there. And based on this, I do want to talk about the side mirrors. They are also auto dimming and heated. Interior lighting is going to be full LED, which is a good touch. And you do get this, what they call an oversized sunroof. So it is really nice. I just wish it would have been full panoramic, but from what I've been told, it might have been a little bit harder to do that as far as engineering. And then I don't know if I just covered that, but sunglass holder, which Rachel uses indefinitely. And then outside of that, nothing really worth mentioning. So overall, I'm very happy with the build quality of this car and definitely the driving dynamics. So let's go over the driving dynamics. Okay, so the Stinger at last. So if you guys follow me on Instagram or anything like that, you've probably seen some like little shots of the Stinger or interior pictures of the Stinger by chance. So it's been kind of a elephant in the room situation for a little bit. So this video is the official unveiling of the Stinger. So we've had this car for probably about 3.5, 4 weeks maybe. No, I think maybe only three weeks. We haven't had it long. Okay, so in saying that, we love this thing a ton. Okay, so we've been wanting a sportier car for a while now, and this thing fits the bill. So trying to merge into traffic here in a safe way. So essentially, this car is, goodness gracious, this car is fantastic in so many different ways. It already has a lot of good reviews in terms of the way it drives, and I agree. There's not really many shortcomings that I find to this car. It's really hard to find things to complain about when it comes to this car. And I think the main reason being is because this is not a car that you would expect from Kia. And I love that aspect. I love underdog situations. I really do. Underdog situations for me, it just makes me so happy, because like Kia, which was a throwaway brand probably 20 years ago, is now building some of the best cars you can buy, whether you want to agree or not. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They got so many awards, such a high regard from so many consumer reports. It's insane. The Stinger is no stranger to that. So things that I love about this car is the fact that it's quick, right? So 0 to 60, oh my goodness, woman. 0 to 60 is about 4.5 seconds. Some independent testings have gotten it to 4.5 seconds, but what Kia stated was 4.7 seconds, which is honestly quick enough, right? Not even 10 years ago, that was a entry-level Aston Martin, which is fantastic. And this car is bringing that with a twin turbocharged V6. It is a 3.3 liter V6. Has about, I'm gonna close the sunroof here, has about 365 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque. And yes, the 22s have a slightly different output because it has a revised exhaust and intake from what I remember, but overall not really a big change. I will say that this car is just so fun to drive, but it's so comfortable. This model, which is the GT1 for this year, gives an electronically adaptable suspension as well. So if I throw it in comfort mode, it gets more comfortable. If I throw it in sport mode, it gets a little firmer. It's not crazy changes, but it's enough to make me go, ooh, wow. Okay, so see, and another thing I like is that it sounds really good. It's got a deep tone to it, but the other thing I like is that it's not overly obnoxiously loud. It's a comfortable noise, and it gives you goosebumps. But overall, again, I am smitten by this car. So things that I think they should do, because not every car is perfect. My biggest complaint is the idle stop and go function. So engine turns off, you save gas, blah, 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 blah. Does it add more strain to your starter? Nobody knows. They assume it does, but you know, car companies try to, you know, push, oh no, it doesn't add any strain, whatever. They have the button that you can turn it off, but they should have a feature to where you can keep it off, so next time you get in the car, you don't have to keep pressing that button. It's so frustrating. So that is probably one of my main complaints. Outside of that, I don't really have any, but this car is fantastic. I love the way it feels. The steering is direct. It's not too heavy, because again, this is a Grand Tour. It is a GT, you know, so it's supposed to be comfortable for long trips while bringing not only luxury but sportiness and speed, and this car does that well. Top speed is about 167 miles an hour, though with certain wheel packages I know it can be brought down to 140 and 147 miles an hour depending on market that you live in, etc. So again, it's a quick car. It has a decent top speed, but it's not gonna blow your mind away. You're not gonna win against a new 5.0 Mustang or anything like that, but that's not what this car is about. You're getting a luxury car from a brand that's usually not making luxury cars, and you're getting features that you would have to spend 10-15 grand more from an established luxury brand like Mercedes, BMW, etc. right? So my driving dynamics with this car that I've learned is that this car is very predictable. It will tell you where it's going to go at all times, and it could be because this is an all-wheel drive one. I imagine that a rear-wheel drive variant would be a little bit more squirrely, but in a fun way. But this car is very, very predictable in what it wants to do because, again, it's just so well built. That had to have been the quickest yellow or green light I've ever seen in my life. Holy cow. I'm baffled. So yeah, as far as brake feel goes in this car, I know I'm talking a lot in traffic and I'm not really driving the car, but as far as brake feels goes in this car, I mean, my only complaint is that there's a little bit of travel on the pedal before it actually kicks in, but these Brembo brakes, they have very little fade and they definitely stop you quite well, and it's a very smooth, there's no pulsating, though from what I'm learning there is a brake issue common to the Stingers where I guess dust residue or something builds up on the rotors of the brake pads. I'm not mechanically inclined that. I'm not going to speak too much on it because I don't want to misinform you guys, but it is a common issue on the Stingers, as is sunroof rattle, which this car does have, and it is very annoying. And some people are going to be like, oh, Kia reliability, blah blah blah. I don't think it's specific to the brand. I've had sunroof rattles in an old Lexus I had. I mean, it just happens, right? But I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me too much. If I play music, I don't even hear it, right? So who cares? But overall, I think they did really, really well with this car. So this car is incredibly fun to drive. This thing handles like it's on rails. And if you punch it, whoo, oh my goodness, that torque just gets you. And this car, oh my goodness, the transmission, it's an in-house transmission if I recall correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but man, the tuning for this transmission is one of my favorite attributes of the drivability of this car, because no matter where you are in the power band, if you punch it, no matter what angle, this car knows exactly where you want to be and it shifts accordingly, and that is beautiful. And it gets even better and even more accurate in sport mode, and it is just, oof, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Not only that, it's speed sensitive steering, so the quicker you're going, the heavier it gets, which is so nice. It's just, the tuning of this car is beautiful. I love it, love it, love it. I will say, it can be a little cumbersome when you're using the paddle shifters while driving the car spiritedly. Man, this thing is fun. And it just sounds good. Oh my goodness, it just sounds really good. Whew. And these brakes just feel really good. I guess I'm looking for a firmer brake pedal just because I expect more braking power, but they just made it so easy in this car. It's so strange. So strange. I mean, I want to say I'm complaining, but I don't know if I can legitimately say it's a complaint. What? I don't know. Holy cow. Some other things that you might be curious about as far as being in this car is visibility, right? So front windshield, no problem. Side windows, no problem. You get a lot of light in from the sunroof, though the sunroof is heavily tinted, no problem. The back glass, it's pretty tiny. It's a lift back. What do you want from it? I mean, you should know that going into a car like this. It is tiny, but it's not the end of the world. You still have plenty of visibility. Plus, with all the blind spot detection and things like that that you have in these new cars, it's not really an issue to see out of it, just being honest. So not an issue at all. Now, it's like this car, it could just be your total sleeper and you can just relax in it. Or if you just want to go crazy and just have a lot of fun and just drive spiritedly, this car gives you all of that. This is probably the most well-rounded cars you can buy, and the fact that nobody buys these things makes it even better because you just don't see these that often. I was looking at used car prices for Stingers, and I'm in a few Stinger groups on Facebook, and Stinger prices are starting to climb a little bit. This thing might be a future collectible, you know, and I'm excited to have something super special. So I really do love this thing, and I feel very special driving it. And I think that's one of the things that I love most, is just the emotion that it induces in me when I do drive it and see it. Like, I look back every time I get out, because I do think this is a genuinely beautiful vehicle. I think they did really well the inside and out, and I've seen people modify these and tune these, and the powertrain is very, very reliable, and when they're modified they look beautiful still. You know, it's hard to make these cars look bad. And honestly, because nobody knows what it is, I have a lot of people who will come up to the car and be like, yo, what is that? And I'm like, it's a Kia. And they're like, rewind, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's a Kia. And they're shocked, you know, because nobody expects a car company like Kia to come out with something like this. So all in all, I am totally smitten by this car. You guys know I'm going to keep you up to date in terms of ownership of this car. Things that have to be done to it have not, so that way you guys can get a feel for genuine ownership of a car like this. Now, before I go, I will say two things I want to point out about ownership. I have already had to make a repair in this vehicle, and it was out of pocket. I did have to replace a control arm on this thing because I hit a pothole, and that pothole was super intense, and it was my fault. I'm not gonna try to, nobody needs to be like, how come they didn't cover it under warranty? It was my fault. I'm not gonna try to push it on Kia as a defective part or anything. It was solely my fault. I hit the pothole. It's going about 45, 50 miles an hour. I'm honestly surprised I did not bend the wheel or anything. They checked out the wheel, they double checked it, no damage there. So that was one thing. And then secondly, gas on this car, the gas tank is actually pretty tiny. So I do go through gas quite a bit. I mean, I'll fill up probably every few days just because, I mean, you drive the car spiritedly and it's just not a big gas tank. So naturally it's gonna go quick. So that's it. So if you guys do like what you've seen on this channel and you do like this video, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on the next car review. So again, thanks for watching.